It's interesting with these problems and situations we have in our lives. We have the steps here. And a lot of times, people will call me up and say, I had this issue problem. Or in my life, I have it. For me, I read step 3, made a decision, turn my will and my life over the care of God as I understood him, right? So all of these things in life, the political situation, the puppy dog, whatever it is, every day, things taking out the garbage, it's all going to be done in its time. But to get a resentment over it, that's where the problem is. So if I have somebody who's not doing what they're supposed to do in my life at work or at home or whatever it is, I'm gonna figure it out intuitively. I'll know. But if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done by that person. If I have to do it, I'll do it. But I have to. The resentment and anger is when that comes in. We're totally lost because most of the time when we're when we're centered, we can figure out and get people to respect us, so they'll do it. And a lot of times people are reacting to the way we treated them and what happened towards us towards them. So when we get centered and we run our lives through these steps in the program, then people start to say, this is a person I want to respect. And they feel that if you do tell them something, they're going to respect and do it. And if they don't, look, that's life too. The world outside, the political situation is what it is. But hey, listen, how much worse is it? People, they say cowards die 1,000 times, but a hero but once. We go around, a person could be worried about getting, okay, the illness, the virus, right? Every day they're upset, they're obsessing about it, they're miserable. They almost kill themselves with their addictions to everybody's drinking alcohol now. So where did all that lead? And you want to know something? Once they get this illness, most of the time it's not that terrible. It's worse to thinking about it. All of these resentments and anger is worse. But when we get in resentment, we're in fear. So when we're relating at work and people in everyday situations, we can't do anything. But when we're centered, we can tell them, hey, this is what we need done. This is that. And not worry if they do it or not. That's secondary. But when we run our lives like that, look, sometimes people can do things, sometimes they're not. This all has to do with step, 1, we're powerless. We really are. We can't control people's situations. So, but when you do these steps in the program, the world change. When you change your thinking, the world around you changes. When you these steps in this spiritual awakening, you start being differently. People react to you differently. It's just the old saying: if you resist somebody, and it talks about somebody trying to control the world, like be the director of the play, it just doesn't work. So we have a way to turn these things around, and not all the time. And if they don't, they don't. That's the whole beauty of it. It all has to do with our addictions to food. Sometimes we feel, well, we're not eating the right, or binging on food, or the problem with the food, and we get into self-centered fear. It's when we stay open and we have that God consciousness, a higher consciousness, then life is just open to us, and all of these things come to us most of the time. And if they don't, they don't. But when we're in fear, we can't do anything. We can't relate to people. If I'm in self-centered fear, I'm going to be assertive. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be upset in the way I demeanor and the way I approach a person. But when I'm centered in the self, it's a different story. The body language, everything speaks about it.